And if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching, you ain't my dog yet, you will be. Thanks, y'all. It's a great day to be alive, even though it's been one of those days. So if my sound sounds funny or if my looks are funny, it's because it's been one of them days. But bear with us. We're going to plug through. Today, we're going to talk about what to do when everything seems to be going wrong. But before we go into that, I want to welcome my dazzling co-host, Miss Diana Eckstein. My trumpet's broke today.
Everything's broke today, guys. I do see a couple of you here. Thank you for being here. There, look at the title of this show, guys.
It's great.
We just titled it because do you know why? Because everything's going wrong. But look at our attitudes. Our attitudes aren't going wrong. Swede, your sound is messed up. More messed up than it was in testing. So I just want to tell you guys that we wanted to be here for you. Hi, Lori. Lori is here. Yeah, your sound is like halfway there. Hey, there's quite a few people showing up. So I just want to say hi to everybody. Just notice the title when things are going wrong, and things are going wrong right now. Swede has some sound issues. I'm sure there's other issues that we're just not mentioning. Plus, I mean, as you hear in my voice, lots of things went wrong for me over the holidays, and I got really sick. So here, test your sound. Say hey to everybody.
Hey girl, hey. So I'm realizing that I'm just gonna keep talking until you tell me shut up. So
Okay.
As this is my first time as a guest, since typically I host the show, and today D-Rex had to pull it off last minute and host. But so I'm learning from this guest perspective is that it's not as easy to see the comments and see what's going on the screen. So I was looking at the comments. I see that Melanie Levitz is in the house. Hey, Melanie, you can spell it just like that, baby.
Yes, today's the right day. So apparently a lot of things look different on today's podcast because some things have gone wrong, and Swede's now podcasting from his car once again. But nothing tragically wrong, just one of those days, you know? And if the sound doesn't improve for us, then we'll cut it a little short today and resume on another day. But let's just see how it goes.
That Lori said, "Ouch, my ears." Is that Lori? Are you telling me that is it problematic from the perspective of the audience?
Yes. Yeah, the sound is problematic, and I would love to talk about this subject. And I'm really happy to see some people here. That always makes me very excited because that means the more participation, the more fun it's going to be. But I think that the sound issue is going to be a thing. It says sounds a little better, but it's crunchy. Crunchy is a good word.
Isn't it different now?
Not better.
It's
not better. No.
It's terrible.
It would almost be better if you just like called in, I think, like on the telephone.
Ooh, interesting.
I don't even know if that's possible. Well, well, you know what? Let me just run through a very short list of things that that I would just like to do before, if we have to cut it. Swede's having some sound issues for anybody who just showed up. So I just want to talk very quickly about what's on the agenda coming up. I might cough. I'm a little bit still under the weather from the holidays. Veganuary. Hello, welcome to Veganuary. We are going to be doing another vegan challenge. This time it's not raw. Pardon me. And we are going to be eating vegan. I can't believe this. I'm the only one on the screen and I have to cough. You're going to have to.
I'm gonna drive, D, and see if driving puts me in a better place. Maybe it's the signal.
This is so funny because we're trying to talk about everything that's going wrong. And everything's going wrong, including me having to cough while I have to be the one who talks. But Veganuary's here. And we are going to be eating vegan again this month. This time it's not just Swede doing the challenge. We have several people on board. And if you are, say so in the comments. But I've already started. And for me, the big thing is cutting out cheese. So that's what I've been working on, thinking about what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat instead of all these cheese-based things? Pardon me. I have not needed to cough nearly all afternoon. But of course, now I'm live streaming and people are watching and I have to cough. This is so ridiculous. Swede's driving his van to, to a different
How's my sound?
location.
How's my sound now?
Still crunchy.
Crunchy.
Yeah, I think it's just the nature of you on this connection. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tasha said, oh, wait, that actually sounded good. Tasha says cheese is the only thing that is her problem, too. Yeah, I rely on cheese a lot. So I got on Pinterest and I looked up a bunch of vegan recipes and I'm going to try them out. And they look delicious. They look better than what I was actually already eating. So I think that this challenge is going to expand my diet for the better. And I'm excited about that. And this time I think it'll be easier for you as well. You want to try your sound?
Yeah. How's that sound? Any different?
It's less crunchy, but it's crunchy. So I think that I think that we might either need you to try to sign back in or we'll cut it short. So not only Veganuary is here, but the 100-mile challenge for January is here. So Swede's going to try to come back into the live stream. I hope I can get through this with my voice. I can't believe I'm the only one in here and I have hardly any voice and I'm about to start coughing. Okay, here he is again. We're going to try it again, guys.
Tell me you love me.
Oh, I love you.
Yes.
Hey, that's much better. Oh my goodness. Okay, Melanie says try the Gouda Smart Heart cheese. So, yes, we are going to be doing that, but we're also going to be doing the 100-mile challenge. And that's something that I haven't personally begun on yet because I can't stop coughing. So, Swede, have you been able to start on anything yet? The vegan or the 100-mile?
No, as a matter of fact, without sharing any details of why today's show is titled "What to Do When Everything Seems to Be Going Wrong," I haven't started very much of anything. I just got back from my East Coast trip yesterday, and although, oh no, don't have that happen.
Oh no.
I have one hand a lot of times, and my phone's gonna fall.
Uh-oh.
So I haven't started very much of anything. My return home was a wonderful trip as usual, but since I've gotten home, I've had quite a few challenges, and so I have not done anything. But I've got several that are joining us in the January challenge. So if you go on Facebook and you can search for the GBL Veganuary challenge and join that group, or if you are able to share with us in the comments your information, your a link to your Facebook profile, then we can invite you via Facebook. Either one of those will be sufficient. And we're going to, so Kelly is going to be providing us with some delicious vegan recipes as well. And what I personally have not started, because what my goal is tomorrow, I'm having blood work drawn. And the idea is to see what the blood work looks like with your standard eating. So that's why I haven't switched yet, because I want to show you guys what holiday eating will make your blood look like. So I want to get that test first. And then once that test happens, then I'll make the changes and show you what the change result looks like 30 days later. And so I know Tasha is also participating, and she is also waiting until she gets her blood drawn. Now, I don't expect you guys to invest that heavily where you're getting your blood drawn and doing body
I'm
composition scan.
not.
As you know, I'm this podcast is only a sliver of what is a very elaborate plan for me. And it's a window into that plan. For me, I'm gathering this information for my benefit to use this as I progress and pursue recovery. So my goals are going to be different and probably a lot more elaborate. I don't expect you guys to get that detailed with it, but I'm doing it for that reason for me. And I'm doing it with that style so that you can um, see what the science shows. If all you do is do your best to make better decisions on a regular basis and then just see how it makes you feel and how it makes you look, then that's a success, and just track your progress. And I know that by participating, you're going to be more sensitive to when the topic arises, and what that will do is trigger your interest and have you looking at it more and learning more about it. And I am very confident that the more you learn about it, the more you're going to uncover how healthy it is for us, and how vegans all around the world are showing such drastically better results in just about all chronic disease tests. So it's not about being a scientist for each of you like it is for me. So I don't expect you to wait and get your blood drawn, but that's just how I'm doing it, and I'm going to be happy to report the results to you.
I'm mostly doing it because I know I need a reset. I know that I've been relying on the same foods, and I like to eat healthy anyhow. I've always been a healthy eater, but I've just been kind of stuck in a rut, and I think this will force me to start cooking a lot more things from scratch again and thinking about ingredients differently. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been stuck in a rut for years living in those facilities. And I was so excited about getting out of the facility so that I could have control over what's in my kitchen, because I know that in the times of my past when I've been successful or more successful at making better decisions more often, and have been more basically, I wasn't eating any animal protein. I've gone months and months without a single bite. And that was because I didn't keep any of it in my house. I always kept fresh ingredients for vegetable juice, and I would keep fresh juice in my fridge. Ask Melanie; she's been there when I made the juice. And I believe Tasha might have also tried it at one point. And I would use the juice when I was thirsty. Use the juice to make my smoothies, which is what I ate probably every single day. And then in the evenings, whenever I want, have a more satisfying meal, then I would usually choose one ingredient, like a cucumber, and then add some sort of topping to it and eat that and satisfy myself. And so I kept it very simple. And I found that to be much easier for me. But I also know that I wasn't feeding children. I wasn't feeding others. I was dining out very little. That was also very
Mhm.
helpful. Because when you dine out, you're going to be so tempted to join your friends in eating those things that are eventually that happen. I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen to the people you know right now that are healthy. I'm just asking you to pay attention to the people that you know right now that are not, and look at how they were when they were younger. The proof is
Mhm.
the proof is everywhere.
Mhm.
And I also would like to welcome you guys to look at it like this: when it's time to eat, if you view yourself as your body as a car, just look at it like it's time to go get gas. And your entire life, time you went to get gas, that's all you did at the gas station was get gas, right? But now that for this month, just to see how it makes your car run, every time you go to the gas station, instead of just getting gas, you're going to get the tire pressure checked, you're going to get filter checked, you're going to get all of the things done to your car that a mechanic would do to his own car if he was loving it to its fullest. And if you view eating like taking your car to the gas station, and you view eating empty carbs or calories that have no nutrients like getting gas without any other repair, or eating healthy, eating vegan especially, as getting your car all the other parts it needs while you're at the gas station. while you're getting gas, pick up a little bit of these other nutrients that are packed when it comes to plant-based eating and are very void when it comes to carnivorous eating. So like the gas station eating a cheeseburger, that cow has already used up all the good parts for your car, for its car. Now you're just eating the car. Like, you know, and when you when you're vegan, you're actually giving yourself the parts that your car needs. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so you don't have to look at you be trying to be wiser about your decisions. It's not like getting a new job where you have rules and if you break them you'll get fired. It's more like dating a new girl, and the better you treat her, the better your relationship will be, right? So you don't have to be perfect because we're human, and your girlfriend is human too. Hopefully she understands you're not perfect, you know. But if you, it's really about perspective, and that's why I thought that this would be an appropriate topic. Not only did it arrive perfectly in our conversation, but I thought it would be a perfect topic for anyone that's on the fence about trying veganism for us with us in January, or about stepping out of their comfort zone and getting busy living with us. What when everything seems to be going wrong, what do you do? And you want to talk about how that came about in a conversation?
Well, no, I want you to talk about it because I don't know what you want to share. But
We were, for the audience, we were discussing all of the obstacles that we were facing today, and the fact that we had done a podcast on Sunday with Lori and Schaefer and Mez, which we're going to talk about shortly, and that because of all of the stresses that were happening, and believe me, emotionally, I was not in the right mindset until this conversation happened, and I was thinking about all of the anxieties and stresses that were really not going to impact this podcast, but were impacting my day and getting in the way of me hosting it and all. And so when we were contemplating what we were going to do, you said maybe we should do a podcast about what to do when everything's going wrong. And then you said, but I wouldn't have the answer to that. And
well,
the
you know
answer,
what? Oh, okay, go ahead.
no, I'm interested to hear how you interpret that.
I mean, I don't have the answer to that. I mean, I have an answer, and I know that one of the answers is that you can't let yourself spiral down and only sit there and complain because that gets you nowhere. It doesn't do anybody any good. And it's not even fun. Like, why? Why do we
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah. It
Why do
is
we
not.
sit there and we get so mad and we beat ourselves up and it's like it's not doing anything for anyone, including yourself. So I know that that's not the way. And if you can just maintain your composure, oftentimes there's an answer out of it that you can see because you're not spinning and angry and mad. And if there is no answer out of it, at least you're not sitting at the bottom of a hole going, "Arr," you know?
Exactly, D-Rex. So there we were at the bottom of the hole doing just that, saying what, we've got all of these things that our loyal listeners are interested in hearing about, about Schaefer and about Veganuary and about, the lineup this year of professionals and where we're going to go with this podcast. And here we are, like, trying to fight all these outside obstacles to decide how we're going to present that to everyone. And we're thinking about calling it quits. And right when we were at the bottom, thinking about calling it quits, what did you say? Let's do a podcast about let's do. The answer is when you're faced with it and everything seems to be going wrong and you feel like quitting, you just do it. And it starts with
Mhm.
belief. You got to believe. It all starts there. If I've said anything since we began this journey together back in August, if I've said anything that you should be listening to, that is the fundamental belief that I live my life by, is you got to believe. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in all of the things that are necessary for whatever it is that you want. You have to believe that those things are possible, and that if you do your best and you call upon all your resources and you ask for help if your resources aren't enough, you just believe that it can happen, and it can. One of my all-time favorite quotes, Henry Ford said, "If you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. But
Mm-hmm.
if you believe, then you can." And so when it comes to, oh man, Swede, I see you're on month 5 of the Project 55, and you've done the Grand Canyon, and you've done Hollywood, and the beach and the lake, and all these crazy things, and I can't even figure out my household budget, or I barely got enough money for gas, and like you don't have the answers, and so that's at the point where you're like, where do you go when you're just doing the same thing over and over every single day, and you're not making progress? And when you look at your life and you're like, man, I'm feeling the same stresses that I was feeling 10 years ago. I've taken 2 steps forward. I've got a different home. I've got different clothes. I've got maybe a different job. I've got different friends, but I'm still feeling the same stresses all the time. That's essentially where you are when everything's going wrong. If you're not progressing and you're not one step closer to your dreams, then everything is going wrong. And when it's that time, you have to believe that if you make the changes, that you can have whatever it is that you want. One of the things that happened to me when I went back to Erie this time, D-Rex, man, I pulled over and cried
Hmm.
on one occasion. I drove through my old neighborhoods, and I went and sat outside 1612, and man, there's a lot of love in that city, man. Everywhere I went, people were showering me with love, and I got so much love for all those people. And I just want to help. And I know what was available to me when I lived in that city, and what has become available to me that were contributors to my success. At whatever level of success I feel I've gotten, I feel a lot of it I did not find and is not present or readily available in Erie. You know,
Mhm.
there's a sentiment in that city that you are not legit if you're not suffering. You know, um, there's a moment
Yeah.
like what they've been through.
Hmm.
And that's after that you persevere. But if you're just scratching by week to week, and you're in the same place as you were 10 years ago, you got to believe that you can get out of that, or you're only going to stay there. And I'm telling you, I owe it to you, to each and every one of you that's participated in my recovery in any way. I owe it to you to help you as much as I possibly can. So if you're feeling that way, if you're there and you want to be here with us, getting busy living with us, but you're stuck in a rut, or you just don't know what you don't know, and you're willing to make slight changes or do whatever it takes, just let me know. And man, we'll sit and we'll talk. And we'll do our best to figure out you're where you're stuck. Maybe it's a lot of times it's just perspective, really. And that's why I say always, you got to start with belief. You got to believe that you can have what you want. You got to believe that Veganuary, you got to believe that you can do it. You got to believe that you might not be perfect, but you got to believe that next time I eat, I'll eat right. Maybe not every time, but next time I go to the gas station, I'm going to get some other nutrients with it. I'm not going to eat just meat, because those nutrients are already used up. I'm going to go get plants that have more nutrients and give my car an oil change every time I get gas.
I'd like to say something about this because I feel like sometimes people see, and I don't really want this whole podcast to be about the vegan challenge, but some people get nervous about like what they're going to miss. But what about doing the vegan challenge in a way where like you eat like you normally eat, but you add greens or you add fruit to what you're doing, you know? You add vegan food to what you're already doing.
If if it takes steps like that, like if you are struggling so much to resist, then by all means add the other stuff, because the other stuff is like medicine. So
Mhm.
it's better to add the other stuff and still eat the bad stuff than it is to eat the bad stuff and not have any medicine.
Yeah.
They really are. All of our medicines are from plants, all of them. And so I, it, that is a good effort. It's better than not trying at all, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, if that's the bare minimum you can do, that's a good way to start. You know, um, Melanie says, and I don't know if you can see any of these comments. Can you see any of the comments? Like, can you see this?
I'm
Okay,
looking.
Melanie's
It doesn't have
okay.
the. Oh, okay, let me see. Yeah,
So Melanie says, how do we get B12? And I mean, I take a supplement personally, and I don't even eat vegan all the time. I find that even eating vegetarian, taking a B supplement is a good idea. It makes me feel awesome. But there are vegan foods where you can get B12, and one of them is nutritional yeast, and you can sprinkle that on your food. And um,
everybody should have nutritional yeast, and
yeah.
just a of that. That's your answer, D-Rex, for sure.
But let's get back to the topic about when things go wrong. Like, what do you do? And I've been accused of being a toxic positive person, like toxic positivity. And I don't know if you've heard that term. And I don't think I am. I don't think I am a toxic positivity person just because I look for the silver lining in everything, right? That's what I do. And when a friend was coming at me with a bunch of her problems one day, um, she just said that she was like really mad. I guess she wanted me to be like, why? Tell me more about why you're so mad. And I just wasn't doing that. I was trying to find the positives in the situation. And she got really mad. And actually, she's not even my friend anymore because she didn't like my approach. And so then it caused me to really look at like what is toxic positivity? Is that me? And I think that toxic positivity is asking people to smile when they feel sad. And that's not what we are doing here. Not at all. We're just saying that when Melanie says she was never a friend them then um yeah, I mean there was probably some other issues there. But looking for the silver lining is a completely different thing rather than saying just be happy, you know? Like things were going wrong for us today and lately. Like I went on a trip that cost a lot of money and I was sick nearly the whole time, right? But I have to find the positive lining there. Still sick. And I don't choose to be angry about it. That's not toxic, but I'm also not like super thrilled. I'm not super thrilled my vacation went that way, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
What
not about not feeling, because I've learned, especially since my injury, how it's far more toxic to not feel your feelings than it is, you know, um, to let them help you. You know, because our survival tactics. So but there a lot of them are falsely stimulated. So we can't be slaves to our emotions, but we should be aware of them and acknowledge. And it's not about ignoring them or lying to yourself. you know there's theories about faking it till you're making it, and how the placebo effect can spring you. And don't get me wrong, there's all kinds of life hacks out there. Here at the Get Busy Living Project, we're not telling you to lie to yourself. We're just telling you to stay focused, get busy. Remember, purposeful, deliberate, intentional living. So when everything goes wrong, first decide and believe. Believe that you can fix everything, and then decide to do it. However, one way of dealing with the everything going wrong circumstance, and I was thinking about this as I was at my door and realizing that I was facing this circumstance, that I should be better prepared. So one way to what to do when things are going wrong is analyze your preparation and see if there's things that you can do ahead of time, so that some of the things that are going wrong, you can nip those in the bud before they ever have the opportunity to go wrong. So planning ahead is helpful. And especially when you're talking about, like I was referring to earlier, if you're living in a life cycle that you just can't seem to get stuck and you can't get out of, and it might seem like you're just on this hamster wheel, or it might even seem like you're just on a runaway train and you can't stop it. Well, it's not going to stop until you stop and start thinking about it and start devising a plan, identifying the things that are wrong. When everything's going wrong, what are all the things? Line them up, be realistic about them, and start chipping away little by little at the things that are wrong, and then try to do what you can to undermine them so that they don't happen to begin with.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to, when things are going wrong, if I mean, some things that are going wrong need immediate attention. Of course, take action, right? But you can't sit there and stew on what's going wrong. You have to maybe look for maybe one thing that's going right. You have to, is anything here going right? And you have to point your focus in that direction and help yourself out of that hole.
That's a great. I love that you said that, because I was thinking earlier about that as well. Like when I was feeling that anxiety, and you hit me with, that idea, I immediately felt differently, because emotion I felt, gratitude. I was great.
Mm-hmm.
I was grateful that I had you to bounce the idea off of. I was grateful that I still have we still have the opportunity to do this. It might not be ideal, but we're getting it done.
Yeah.
And I started, I've said it before, one of my all-time favorite quotes, a guy I met in Australia told me about gratitude is the enemy of fear. And so think about it. When we were facing, this decision earlier, there was levels of fear and doubt as to whether or not we would be able to make it entertaining or make it worthwhile or pull it off at all. And and I immediately became fearless as soon as I became appreciative that I wasn't in this by myself. So start with counting your blessings. Gratitude is a great way to get yourself out of any, anxious situation.
Yeah, and gratitude, it puts you in the right energy space, not to sound like a hippie. But we are, everything on this earth is made of energy, and that's just a fact. That's not a hippie thing. That's science, right? And the energy that you put out is the same energy that makes this table solid. You can't see my table, but I just knocked on it. And what the energy that you put out there is a real thing. It's not just your feelings. You are actually putting something out in the world. And I think you need to be responsible about what you put out in the world, right? You can't just be throwing your negative emotions everywhere and affecting everybody around you. I mean, if you want your own life to go right, you don't have to, well, that's not what I meant to say. If your own life is not going as you want, you don't have to force that on other people. Like, that's irresponsible. You have to sit with yourself, you have to calm down, and you have to calmly look for any way forward, because action is the only way. Action's the only way forward.
Absolutely. No matter how much you believe, if you don't take action. And those are the people that I hope are really, I hope to reach, because there are a lot of folks out there that agree with us and seem to be getting busy just fine.
Mhm.
It's the people that need the help. Those are the folks I'm hoping to reach, because this all spawned from the fact that I needed help and so many reached out to me. And so if you understand, how to get a hold of yourself and dig yourself out of a sticky situation when everything seems to be going wrong, that's wonderful. You probably agree with some of the things that are some of our philosophies. But for those of you that seem to struggle with that issue, it really does start with your attitude. You have to believe that you can get out of it. And then it's all about being thoughtful and aware, like you said, of it. And then use little tricks like counting your blessings, to be able to get a hold of yourself, change your attitude. Because a lot of times when everything seems to be going wrong, a lot of times it's not that everything's going wrong, it's that you're looking at it wrong. Sometimes you're just behind a shadow, and all you got to do is step to the left, and everything's clearer. And it's actually nothing's wrong. I was just standing in the wrong spot. So a lot of times it does. It's all about, how you're viewing it, and it's about how you own the situation. We talked about this being the first podcast of 2023, and this is technically the first podcast it's been 5 years and 3 days since I've been awakened out of the coma. It was January 2nd, and this is
Hmm.
January. 5 years. So this is technically the first podcast after the 5 year mark of me realizing that my life had been changed.
Hmm.
And if you don't think that I was thinking everything was going wrong at that point, I mean, yeah, that's
That's
the
actually that's my favorite story of keeping the right attitude when everything's going wrong. I mean, could things go worse than injuring your spine in a foreign country, you know? And the fact that you have turned that um into something in your life that's given you a whole lot of meaning and drive and purpose. That's my favorite story of everything going wrong but keeping the right attitude.
yeah, it's 5 years. The first 6 months I was in Malaysia. And then I came back in June of 2018, and I spent the next 10 months in a bed in a room, completely bedridden. It was during those 10 months that I discovered that nobody was going to help me fix my spinal cord, and that I needed to do, if 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 I wasn't willing to dedicate my life to fixing a person's spinal cord, I should have no feelings of ill will towards the rest of the world that has not dedicated their lives to fixing it. And so that's when I decided to go back to school. So in year two, I started school. And so that's why I'm about to graduate in 6 months or 5 months. Uh, it took me a year to go back to school. It took me 3 years and 12 days. Well, it took me over 2 years before I was able to get out of the hospital and be in a power wheelchair and go outside and actually feel like my own serenity without being surrounded by medical personnel, and to actually be sitting outside of the hospital and feeling the sun on my skin. And when they gave me the first power wheelchair that I ever got, I didn't know they were giving it to me. And
Oh.
they came and they're like, well, here's your, they put me in it. And I thought that it was just like a therapy, session that I was going to be doing. And they were like, yeah, how's it fit? And I was like, feels great, and it's really easy to steer. And they're like, cool. We're glad that it fits, good luck with it. And I was like, what? and and that was like, man, when that happened to me was the most significant affirmations that if you believe and you keep pushing, that things that when it looks bleak, and all of your known ways out are exhausted and you feel like quitting, just keep pushing, because there might be a way that you're not aware of to get out. And that's what happened with me with the wheelchair. I didn't know I was going to get a power wheelchair. You want to talk about freedom from being bedridden and not having the flexibility to be able to sit in a regular wheelchair and use my hands like normal people in wheelchairs do. I can't. That's why I have to have a power wheelchair. Otherwise, I'd be laying flat on my back. And so I
Mhm.
can't in a wheelchair where I just push it with my arms. And so getting that next level of freedom, it was amazing. And it took then 3 years and 12 days. I remember that amount. It was December 30th of 2020 that I moved out of that nursing facility and moved into my own apartment. And it took another, well, 350 days, December 13th or 15th of that year, to get a house. And so, and then it took another 6 months. So essentially 4 years and 6 months to get a vehicle that gives me the kind of freedom that I was once used to. And it took me 4 years and 8 months to found the Help Swede Walk Again organization, which is what we'll talk about next, and tell you
Mhm.
what we for. And then it took me 4 years and 9 months with your help to launch this podcast. And here at 5 years, um, the launch of the podcast coincides with the Get Busy Living Project 55. It took me 4 years and 9 months to begin to my attempt of breaking the 54-month long streak of consecutive months on at least one adventure. So 5 years later, 5 years and 3 days after waking, realizing that I was that Florida man in Bali that chased a monkey, and that was going to be my.
We've lost you a little bit. I'm
I just stopped
There
talking.
you
It's
are.
just
You're okay. I thought that you had disappeared.
no. It just hit me in the face. 5 years.
Hmm.
It's been 5 years, and I was talking to AFT yesterday on the way home, or 2 days ago on the way home from the East Coast, and he was, reminding me of these accomplishments and encouraging me to continue pushing. And I was letting him know that so that was January 2nd. I'm going into 2023 with a completely different mindset than I've ever had at any point in my life. I've got something that is way bigger than myself that I'm dedicated to. And I've got a team, you know, of people, Melanie and you and Tasha and now we've welcomed the Mezzacapos to the team. And we, my brother, 5 years it's taken to really kind of get my feet underneath me, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now assemble a team, and what we're going to accomplish this year. We've got Schaefer Mezzacapo. If you guys see the podcast that we did on Sunday, please go back and check out the podcast with Schaefer. Um, what a powerful young man! What a real source of life.
Can I read this comment really quick from Lori? It says Schaefer was born when you were in the when Schaefer was born when you were in the hospital, and now you're a team.
Isn't that awesome? Wow, that is such amazing fact.
Yeah, there's a lot of I wouldn't call them coincidences, but there's a lot of things that line up in an interesting way, huh?
Yes, very interesting. There's been too many coincidences, and so we're going to help Schaefer. We are going to help you as the audience, and we're going to help so many others. Um, as I gain more information and get more leverage with my consultancy, and we work out more details with the stem cell clinic, we're going to have resources for you guys to be able to check our progress. It's all, as a team, we are growing, and our next step in the beginning of this year is to be hiring a social media manager that can help us with our website, so we can share all these informations with you. So if any of you guys out there know of someone or are interested in joining the team in that capacity, get at us. What I'm intending is to pass the baton or the microphone around the stadium on month 55 and have all of you guys that are a part of the team have joined us on so many of the locations, and we can all tell our stories of how our collective efforts were able to spread the word of this movement of trying to help people. The Help Street Walk Again, essentially our goal is to help people. We're going to be raising money, and the funds that we will be spending ideally will go towards stem cell treatments, but really the goal is to help people. There's so many things that money doesn't buy that just require effort. So we also want to help people with that as well. I realize that a lot of what I've been able to accomplish in this 5 years is subject of my individual talents and skills. I know that I'm relentless, and I know
Yeah.
that it's a glitch in some ways, but that glitch was necessary for me to get some of the things that I've been able to get. And I recognize that a lot of folks don't have that glitch. And if my glitch can help somebody else benefit, let's put it to work. So not only do I know how to find the resources that you might need, then we're trying to spread the word so that we can start generating revenues to be able to pay for the therapies that you'll need. And these therapies are therapies that insurance won't pay for. And that's namely, that's where I think stem cells come in to play. And the bigger picture, the goal of the Help Swede Walk-In organization is to attack the reputation of stem cells and remove the stigma, and to get stem cells into legislation so that they can become a part of our solutions as a population. We already know there's undeniable, irrefutable scientific evidence of the power of stem cells. And there are scientists alive today that believe that stem cells can be as significant as fire in the human race's evolution. And so my goal is to educate and bring stem cells to the public. I know that it's not a new thing. I'm not trying to be a pioneer. I'm just trying to be a champion of what I firmly believe is the answer to a lot of what were previously considered uncurable conditions. And to me, that is an effort that I think is not only worthwhile, that can have major impact, but to me, that's one way that I can try to there's no way I could ever match what has been done for me. My life was returned to me, but I can damn sure try to have that kind of impact for people. And so if you know anybody that you think could use help getting access to resources, or that has ailments that stem cells can be of use to, then please go to nominations at the hswa.org and send us an email so that we have some documentation of opening up the line of communication so that we can start the process.
You know what? Your sound just started breaking down again. But I put the email up here. Melanie says she knows somebody. So I think Swede's going to rejoin the stream in just a second. That solved his sound issue last time. I want to thank everybody who's been here throughout this entire podcast, where we've been true to the title of the podcast, When Things Go Wrong. If you watched the beginning of this, Swede didn't have any sound at all. So let's hear you again.
It's terrible.
No, it's still terrible. So I think that now is a good time for us to cut everybody loose for the evening, because the sound issue, I mean, this is all sound, right? And that's important. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's always super fun when you guys chime in the comments. Thank you so much. I just want to quickly mention that you should head over to getbusylivin.com or thehswa.org. Let me put that up here on the screen to reserve a copy of Swede's book. And I think that it's more important that I put that website up here. Hold on a second. It says to get on the guest list, but there is the website, thehswa.org. That's the nonprofit website. Or getbusylivin.com. Here's, these are all wrong. I wasn't expecting to do all of this stuff by myself today, so it's a little bit crazy. You can go to getbusylivin.com as well. And for just a $25 donation, you can be in the running for that amazing, amazing trip to Alaska that we always talk about. So I'm not gonna talk about it again here. But I mean, $25 that goes toward helping people get their stem cell treatments, and helping this podcast stay here and being part of this community. And you get in the running for that trip to Alaska. I mean, that's just kind of a no-brainer for, if you're going to spend $25. I think that's one of the best ways you can do it. So here, let me just check the comments really quick. Oh, thanks for being here, Lori. She said, thank you she needed the podcast today. So I just want to thank you all for being here. And I guess I'm going to try to end this thing on my own. Can't promise it's going to be perfect, but we'll see you next time. I'm sure Swede would love to say that it's a great day to be alive. But you know what? You know what I have here? I have exactly what he would say. Oh, I'm wrong. It's gone. Okay, so I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to say it's a great day to be alive. And what do you guys want to say in the comments? I think you need to say, hell yeah. All right, we'll see you guys next time. It's been awesome.
You can see it when you see me, but you gotta